coming back to school with me. We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson-Wood. I'm the board game teacher. Welcome to the classroom. Today's topic, social benefits of board games. Board games are, by their very nature, a very social endeavor. As such, the social benefits which are derived from board games are numerous. So numerous, in fact, that I'm not going to be able to cover them all in this one episode. What I will say is that it will be something that I will be doing probably for as long as I have this channel. So depending on what maybe the viewers are asking, if they have any questions about particular social aspects, or maybe there's something that comes up as a question, or maybe it's just something I feel like I want to talk about that particular week, but there's just really a lot of different benefits socially to playing board games. So I'll be continuing to explore this rich wealth of information over the next while, because there really is just so much of it. Today what I'm going to be doing is an overview of some of the benefits of social learning, social behavior in board games, and in future weeks I'll be getting into more specifics on that. So let's get right to it. First off, overview. So in preparing for this video, I started thinking to myself, what is the purpose of board games? Why do we play board games? And what it really boils down to me is two things. One, board games are fun. They are. And if maybe some of you don't think some board games are fun, maybe some board games aren't fun. But there is a board game out there for everybody, and I will argue that one to my dying breath, that if you don't like board games, then you just haven't tried the right board games. So board games are fun. Full stop. Two, the important thing about board games and how they affect us and help us socially is that they help us to socialize. The purpose of board games is to socialize. We can have fun. There's a lot of things we can do that are fun, but not all of them involve a social interaction. Board games encourage social interaction. Now, I realize that for those of you who are aware of modern board games and games like solitaire and things like that, yes, there are board games that can be played individually or on your own, and that's perfectly okay. I mean, I sometimes enjoy some solo games myself. If there's nobody else to play with, it gives me something to do, and I enjoy that very much. But I do very much also enjoy the social aspect and meeting with friends and meeting new people through board games. So having that opportunity to meet new people through board games and socialize with them is, one of the reasons we have board games. And so, I mean, I can hear some counter arguments to the statements I've been saying, in that, a lot of the games I'm teaching on the channel, their purpose is not just to socialize and have fun. It's to teach math skills, it's to teach language skills, it's to teach critical thinking, it's to teach all kinds of range of different things. And yes, I would agree with you. I mean, that is intrinsically built into the game. It's a part of it, but it's not the purpose of the game. The purpose of the game is to have fun and to socialize, and those things, if they happen as a part of it, are great, and I'm very thankful for those things, because, as I say, I will be teaching a lot of those different games and how they can be used in a classroom to teach different skills, but they're not an integral component of the game. They are sort of added on as a almost bonus feature, if you would. But, as I always tell my students, don't believe me just because I say so. Leave me your thoughts and questions and such in the comment section below, and tell me if you agree with me, disagree with me, and why do you agree or disagree with that board games are for fun and to socialize. And that's it. So one of the other things I'd like to discuss in the grand scheme of board games and how they help us socially is the whole idea of becoming a more socially acceptable person. So if I were to ever meet you, the viewer, or if I meet somebody new or you meet somebody new, outside, just on a neutral location where you're not doing anything specific. You're not at an event. You're not at a particular place like a school or anything like that. If you just meet somebody out in the street, what do you say to them? How do you introduce yourself? How do you bring up a conversation? I mean, some people are good at this kind of thing. Other people are not. Those who are not are what we would determine as more social or less socially acceptable. So what do we do? And I say we because I'm not very good with walking up to people randomly on the street and striking up a conversation. So in terms of what do we say? I mean, there's an infinite range of things we could say to that person. We could talk about the weather. We could talk about sports. We could talk about clothing. We could talk about the atomic weight of oxygen. I mean, it could be anything. I mean, some things are going to be more appropriate to talk about than others, but really there is a vast range of things we could sort of say. And so what do we say? There's really no boundaries there in terms of how do I introduce myself to this person? How do I strike up a conversation and maintain a conversation with this person? How do I get this person to be my friend, if that is what you're going for? Well, when playing a board game, then you are meeting a person at an event where you are there for the same purpose, to play games. Many people I meet through board games it's so simple to meet them as saying, "Hi, I'm playing this game. Would you like to join me?" Or they might say the same to me. And they'll sit down, and once we are in playing that board game, the conversation can just carry on around the shared event now, where we can talk about the game. Have you played this game before? Do you know the rules to this game? Have you played a game like this before? No, I haven't. What game is it like? And you can strike up a conversation around now a shared experience. So certain boundaries have been set around your relationship, where now you can carry on a conversation with this person about the event that you're sharing, being that game. Then throughout the game, you interact with that other person based on what's happening as a course of the game. So through the play of a board game now, you are now forming a relationship with that other person. I'm not saying they're going to be your best friend. I'm not saying that maybe you'll never see them again after that one game. Maybe you don't want to see them again after that one game. But you've opened up a door here. You've given yourself an opportunity, a possibility to learn how to talk to somebody else. And you will talk to other people when playing these games. It's just part of it. It's just what you have to do. And through the course of that, then, people who are maybe perhaps less socially acceptable will learn how to be more socially acceptable, because with some patience in some cases, I've seen some people who can be, still a little slow on picking up some of the social cues and things that people might say to them, but eventually they're getting it, and eventually they do get it, and they will get it, and through this interaction, this constant interaction with other people, they will learn how to be more socially acceptable people. But oh boy, do I wish I could say the same thing about people who play online games. I, years ago, used to have Xbox Live, and I just kind of stopped with it because I didn't like the people I was meeting online, or who I was playing games with online. It's just when my son's watching my son play a lot of that stuff online, and just the people and what they would say, they'd be rude, they'd be swearing, they'd be antagonistic, belligerent, just horrible people. And it made me wonder, what would this person be saying if they were sitting right next to my son on the couch? I'm not saying because my son's physically intimidating or anything like that. I mean, it's just, do people really talk to each other like that when they're not next to each other? And I don't think that they do. I think when playing a board game, I've never seen people speaking to each other in the way that people do online. I mean, that's not to say I don't smack talk some of my friends when we're playing a game, and that can be just part of the fun of it. You're going down, boy. I'm gonna get you for, that kind of thing is just, it's fun, but it's in good fun, and we all know that it's nobody means any harm by it. But the kinds of things that I hear online with the Xbox Live, or I have heard online, it just makes me want to weep for humanity. It's just so awful that I just don't want to ever be a part of that ever again. And so meeting the people face to face, I think those people who would talk like that to somebody online, if I were to meet them at a board game, I don't think that they would do that. I don't think they would talk like that. I think that somehow they feel safer to be so rude and to act in such an inappropriate way because they feel a little safer hidden on their side of the TV screen, whereas other people on the other side can't, react. It's just that removal of not being in a face-to-face game situation. So for that reason, 100% would rather play a board game with a person face-to-face than a video game or any game online where that person is somewhere else and doesn't have to, where we don't interact with each other face-to-face. So another thing I want to look at in terms of people and how they socialize, and one way that they can do that is through sports. Now sports, whether organized sports or a pickup game, operates the same benefit of a board game in that you are operating within a framework, a set parameter of we're sharing this event together, and that can be our basis for forming a social interaction, to form a relationship here of playing this game together. But in contrast to a board game, sports can be problematic where there is skill disparity, so where one person is much better than the other. If everybody's at the same level, like if me and my non-athletic friends went out and played some soccer, I'm sure it would be fun, it would be okay. But if I was suddenly to play against like Cristiano Ronaldo, then I'm not even going to touch the ball. So it's not going to be fun at all. It's just going to be me running around the field and being frustrated that, he's probably going to even make fun of me for being so awful and out of shape. So yeah, that kind of thing. It's just, if somebody's so much better than you, then how much enjoyment will you be having? I guess that's why they have different levels of teams in organized play, but overall, there's that opportunity for frustration. Whereas in a board game, and it's not to say in board games that people can't be better than other people, but at least when you're playing the board game, if done properly, if the other person is mocking you, making fun of you, smack talking too much, or just putting you down as you're playing, it can certainly be a negative experience. I'm not going to say I've never had a negative experience in board gaming. But at least in a board game, like I was giving an example of playing soccer against a professional, I wouldn't touch the ball. Whereas in a game, I'm going to be interacting, doing my things, making my moves, moving my pieces, and having some interaction there, which is, maybe I really don't stand a chance at winning because this player is a very good player at this particular game. But by the same, there's still, I get to have some fun with it. So I just think that, skill level of the game is not going to be, there still can be a huge disparity between skill level, but it's not as closely related to how much fun you'll be having if you're not as good as the other person. Because I played board games against people who are way better than me at the game, but as long as we're all having a good time and enjoying ourselves, then the fun level is still really there, and I still feel like, hey, I know I'm not going to win this, but I'm still enjoying the experience of the game. And the final thing I'm going to be talking about today is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. For those who don't know, I'm going to be putting up a picture right about now. So here we see Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and this is showing the what are the most important things to us as human beings that, until we have met the lower levels of this pyramid, we cannot go to the higher levels. So we see here at the very bottom of the pyramid is survival. If we're not, if our survival is, if we are not surviving, if we need to, we don't have food, we don't have water, we're not able to breathe, then nothing else matters. If I can't breathe, I don't care that I don't have friends. I don't care about my car if I don't have food. So unless the car is getting me food, but you get the idea that we need to worry about our fundamental survival first before anything else. After that comes security. So I'm willing to put myself in danger if it means I'm going to survive. If I have to take risks with my life in order to get food and water and those things I need to survive, then, well, yeah, I'm going to do that. Because that's just human nature. And that's how we operate. The very next one, so once we're surviving, once we're secure in our survival, the next thing we want is friends. We want to belong to a group. We want to know that there's people out there who care for us and that we care for. So this is exactly where board games comes in, because board gaming is such a, in my experience, a wonderful and inclusive community, which really takes on all people. You don't have to be physically fit. You don't have to be even socially fit in some cases. I've seen some people who come in and, it takes a bit of, maybe it takes a bit of coaxing and coaching them to learn some of those social cues to be a more socially acceptable person. But it's, whenever I go to a board gaming event, we always sit down and there's new people who come and we'll invite them to play our games with us, and sometimes people invite me to play their games, and it's just a wonderful and inclusive community. And if people are looking for some way to belong to something, to make some friends, then I would highly recommend this, because some of my, scratch that, let's say any of my best friends are people that I have met in one way or another through gaming. And even my brother, who I consider to be one of my best friends, is somebody who I game with on a regular basis. So a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to meet people and to eventually develop new friendships. And so that wraps it up for today's episode. Before I go, though, I just want to point out that in what I was talking about today, it's not just limited to students. It's not just limited to children. I mean, it's limited to students because I consider us all to be students of life. But what I mean to say is really these social skills that are developed through board gaming, the social benefits of board gaming, are not exclusive to young people. They are exclusive. They are for everybody from all ages can benefit from this. Anybody who is looking for developing or their social skills, to finding social outlets just to be able to interact with other human beings, I would recommend looking for board game meetups, board game community groups. There's lots of resources and places you can look. And if you have any questions about, where you live and maybe you're having some trouble finding something, leave me a message in the comment section below and I'll help you find something, because I can almost guarantee you they're out there. They're out there everywhere, and you just maybe sometimes need to know where to look. But until next time, thank you for coming out to the classroom. I'm Craig Thompson Wood, the board game teacher.